Welcome to episode 405 of the Red Dirt Agronomy Podcast. I am Dave Deacon. This week, we're learning about the newest wheat variety from Oklahoma State University's Wheat Improvement Team, directly from the man who led the development of it. Our guest this week is Oklahoma State University's Dr. Brett Carver. We'll get to our chat with Dr. Carver in just a few minutes, but before we do, if you're new to the Red Dirt Agronomy Podcast, I'd like to welcome you and invite you to hit the subscribe button where you get your podcasts. Also, you will be able to find all of the information we talk about on this episode and past episodes on our website, reddirtagronomy.com. Let's kick things off with a quick trip around the table for an introduction to the dream team of dirt and everything that grows from it. Let's start with Oklahoma State University Extension Cropping System Specialist.
What's something that, have you had something throughout your career that you've brought in accidentally that ended up being the big thing that it was bigger than the trait you were kind of grabbing for?
Dr. Josh Lofton. And next to him is Oklahoma State University Extension Precision Nutrient Management Specialist.
Question is, Dave, does RDA have enough funds to pay the royalties so you can have that play? And
Dr. Brian Arnell. And across from him is a postdoctorate in the Plant and Soil Sciences Department at Oklahoma State University.
I mean, I don't figure that you'd be able to save seed if we go to the hybrid system at all.
Dr. Radon Sherry. Now with all of the formalities out of the way, let's get an update on crops across the state with Dr. Brian Arnell. Now this was recorded just yesterday, February 17th, 2025. So without further ado, on to the episode. You are listening to the Red Dirt Agronomy Podcast. So, Brian and Josh, where are we with the crops across Oklahoma? I know it's been cold, and then it's been warm, and then it's been cold, and we've had a little bit of moisture, but not a whole lot. But that's kind of par for the course this time of year.
they're confused, Dave. I think they're very confused.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're confused. Yeah. You know, we're at that day. We're just talking about it, that we should have been putting a bunch of spring oats out because it's Valentine's Day, and we're not. Or in places, Josh has got some clay loams that he's not getting into anytime soon. Wheat, from what I've seen, is the late planted stuff it's there.
Yeah.
The really early planted stuff is kind of there, depending on where you're at on the moisture. Yeah. I mean, I've seen some decent going out west, some decent ground that had wheat up. Radon, I was down in your country last week, and the wheat was there. You're not getting much grazing off of it, but we've got some stuff around here that went up and had too much stress.
Yeah,
that stuff is hurting right now. That really stressed out during the late fall. So I think there's not been much growth.
You can tell where it rained in October when I was heading out to the Panhandle, because it was really bad wheat, and then it got pretty good, and then really good, and then bad, and then good again. And you know, even that really good spot west of Enid that they got that timely rain, even the hilltops have started to die off and stuff like that. So I mean, the stuff down in the valleys looks really decent.
Yeah,
but the stuff up on top of the hilltops doesn't look so great still.
I was getting some reports from the Alva, Kiowa, Kansas region where the stuff up there doesn't look that bad. The grazing wheat got some good growth. They've had some cattle on it, getting some gain, and it's still kind of chugging along, doing pretty good. Not a lot of growth lately, but that little region seems to be kind of a garden spot as some potential. Still have potential, a lot of potential in the wheat out there. We got a lot of little wheat on our late sown stuff, and we just need to stop doing this. It's 60 degrees, it's 2 degrees, it's 50. When we get warmed up, we're going to have moisture. We're going to kick off the mineralization. We're going to get some good release of that. And I expect, guys, there was a lot of fertilizer put out 2 weeks ago before that
2 or 3 weeks ago.
2 or 3 weeks ago. In fact, I talked to 6 different co-ops that sold out of fertilizer before we were supposed to have that 1 or 2 inches of snow statewide, and ended up getting into dusting. So there was a bunch of co-ops that just sold out all of their dry fertilizer.
Which, ahead of a good moisture event, that's a good thing. And we've had that in areas, but we've also had the cold weather. That are you hearing much about freeze damage from those cold nights in there, or even cold days?
I think at this point anything that could have been damaged has already been damaged off. I hadn't seen a whole lot of anything. We got hit early. Some of those early freezes, I saw some definite leaf necrosis, leaf death, and all that. And that's, I think, is the worst on the stuff that got planted early and then got really stressed. Is the stuff that went really back with some of those early freezes.
So really, I mean, it's obviously there's still time to rebound from this, and it's just good to kind of know that, there's still a finish line to cross, and we're looking
absolutely. Let's get 5 or 6 days of warm weather. Really see how this wheat starts jumping. And right now, it's hard to tell where you're at and what you're at. We really need it to get going.
The fun thing is, in the last 5 years or something, this is the first time we're potentially heading into the spring with some good underneath moisture, which could be very beneficial. We just got to get the heat now.
Yeah, this isn't our first late spring by any means in the last 6 or 7 years, but it might be one of our best springs that we actually talk about. We have moisture set up, so when we do start rolling, we've got something underneath it to really start turning it.
I'm going to ask a dumb question because I kind of specialize in those. Whenever we had those nice foggy days, did that help with the soil, the potential for soil moisture? Does that translate into moisture under the ground, or is that just wishful thinking on that?
I mean, to what I would see, I'd see it more as at least you're not evaporating, where we're not pulling up. And so you have a day or two where you don't have any potential evaporation, because even in Oklahoma, it doesn't have to be 80 degrees to have evaporation. It could be 40 degrees. If we got 30-mile-per-hour winds, we've got evaporation. So that humidity overlaid is going to keep it down. So at minimum, you say we didn't lose anything those days. And the plants are going to collect some. You're going to put it the basal right at the roots, and you get a tenth or a hundredth, so nothing huge there. But
it's not been the best winter for us as humans walking around. But as far as our crops and the potential for either wheat coming up in the spring or our spring crops, it's been a nice winter. It's been. I think I was talking to Beatrix this morning. It's been a number of winters since we've had this much winter type weather in this state. Where last year we were already at 70-80 degrees and things were taking off, and that didn't do us well. So it's hopefully we get some good stuff out in front of us.
Well, and I don't have a great transition to him. I guess I'll just dive in and say.
Well, we should probably fact check all of this that we
I was about to say,
just said with the wheat master over here.
So, Dr. Brett Carver, was there any truth in anything we just said?
I never question these guys. I surely wouldn't question them on the air.
Right.
Okay. We have some preset chances coming. All across, most of the state. Whether or not it's frozen, it depends on where you're at. But, I kind of like where we're sitting right now. Just looking at first hollow stem data that Amanda's put out, and I kind of saw it in the field. The crop's moving. Until we have days like this. The brakes are really applied. But it won't take long to get it going again.
So just for the casual listener, the wheat crop grows in Oklahoma so well because we do have the days where there's still sunlight, and the crop doesn't die. It just pauses its growth for just a little bit, but it's constantly
goes to sleep. But doesn't go into a deep sleep.
Right. And that's why Oklahoma, the Southern Great Plains, winter wheat works so well in this area.
That's right.
So, Brett, what do you see as the minimum temperature that we can still get a little bit of growth in a wheat crop? Is it right above freezing? I know some of the literature is 40 degrees, but I feel like it's a lot closer to 32.
I think it's closer to freezing. I mean, we count on that even in the greenhouse when we're trying to vernalize. We can get growth.
Wow.
Just above 32.
Yeah. But anything at freezing, it just says, check me tomorrow.
Right.
And part of the stuff that you've been busy with, you're working on new wheat varieties, obviously. And here recently, I guess last week, I first learned about the new wheat variety from OSU, and it's Orange Blossom.
That's it. CL plus.
Okay.
You want to make it complete?
We should.
I mean, it is a clear field.
Yeah.
Legitimately.
Yeah. What inspired this direction that you were going with the variety?
Oh, wow. the inspiration is double stop.
Yeah.
It's one of our best genetic stocks in the program, root to shoot, but it's probably the most underutilized.
Yeah.
We have a brother of it in Strad.
Yeah.
But we just don't have anything to account for double stop, and that's you're losing, Brian. You can just turn me off for a second. You're losing acid soil tolerance.
I'm okay with that.
You're losing. Okay, really?
Oh, I think that's
pH
worse.
5?
I think that's the worst thing for our wheat farmers is having the acid tolerance because it's let them farm poorly.
Yeah. Well, but it might encourage that.
It might. Yeah.
This is pretty tolerant stuff. And it's a little bit different genetics than double stop, but it's still tolerant. Good grazing tolerance. Good quality usually. Now this one's not quite as good as double stop. And of course the yield, just the tenacity of double stop. I really want to see that carry through this program, and we try to do it by taking the trait out. And I worked on that for many, many years. And Jeff can vouch for this. Jeff Wright, Foundation Seed. I mean, gosh, he's run about 15 experimentals through that program that never got released.
Yeah.
There was just something that prevented commercialization. And we want to make it right. We want to get it right, and we have it right, I think, with this one. But it does have the trait, so that does provide an option.
You answered my question. This since the initial double stop CL Plus, we've only had limited reintroductions of a clear field option in there too. So, and you answered my question, why it took so long to see that work its way back into the system.
Yeah, but it's not like we weren't trying.
Right.
And you want to do something better than what you already have.
Yeah.
Been hard to beat double stop. I think we did.
So water, if we look back at some of those experimentals that didn't quite make it, what were some of the reasons that they didn't make it? Can you share some of the trials?
I told the group at the OGI meeting I really put my genetic eggs into one basket. I focused on a very limited genetic background. I wanted to put the double stop in a background that would give us barley yellow dwarf resistance, which we don't have, like Uncharted, that's resistant, that we don't have with double stop, and I wanted Hessian fly resistance, which we're just finding out now, well, maybe double stop does have Hessian fly resistance. We're just now testing in the field. We've been doing all the testing in the greenhouse.
Yeah.
Whole different assay. And some other things, disease resistance. And so I thought we had the background to get that, but it turns out that background looks really good east of I-35. And it took a lot of years to figure that out. Well, that's going to cut out a pretty sizable piece of our wheat acreage.
Yeah.
And I just didn't think it was worth, even with the grazing tolerance that background has, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's our best grazing tolerance, but I just could not put it out there. Not having that yield ceiling that we could count on, yield potential, a high ceiling.
Is that do you think that east of I-35, was that a moisture or a heat or a combination? Moisture.
Because we're kind of seeing that, and this background is similar to Uncharted. We're seeing that a little bit in Uncharted. Dry fall, boy, that variety does have a hard time getting going. Won't tiller as much. And that lack of tillering, you see it in the spring. And that's a penalty to yield. And two, I must say this. We happen to have fields at Stillwater. Imagine that. We do test here. And we test under fallow conditions because we're usually trying to run breeding material through Stillwater, and we want to harvest for seed, just like seed producers would. And so we're using fallow conditions, another moisture promoting environment.
Yeah.
And so we kind of got a false impression when we had some tests at Stillwater. And I've gradually cut that back. I mean, except for our hedgerows, which is 50,000 of those things.
Yeah.
We put it at Stillwater because it's close to home. We usually don't get hail. Heaven forbid. That happens this year. And that's only one shot. We put 50,000 hedgerows out there. That's it. If you lose it, go back to ground zero. And so, Stillwater kind of gives us that false hope. Believe it or not, you're right here close to home.
Yeah.
You really need to get out west.
Can you talk a little bit about your system here in Stillwater? Because you mentioned the fallow, about how you guys manage your field. So, because there's some rationale behind the fallow, it's not just moisture.
Right. Yeah, we need clean fields, no doubt about it. And several generations, not just one. From the first grade all the way up until I just thought about it. It's all the way to the senior year.
Wow.
Where we have each generation represented at Stillwater, where we could harvest seed that's pure.
Yeah.
Because we usually don't have a carryover problem with seed over one season. We can get rid of it.
Looking back, you said this is a senior year variety here, and I love that you go back and you treat it like K through 12. Did the big freeze of 4 years ago, 21 did that impact the eventual release of this variety?
No.
Okay.
Only in the greenhouse did we have impact.
Right.
Believe it or not.
Right. Yeah. Well, I was wondering about that because I remember that. Yeah. And just going in that greenhouse and your whole demeanor. I mean, you're usually a very upbeat guy and very positive, and not that you weren't, but you just had that, I don't know, just like you took a gut punch.
Takes air out of you.
Yeah. And after that, I didn't know how many future varieties would have been impacted by that.
Yeah, and in this case, it wasn't.
Right.
We were okay. We were past that point.
Okay.
So how long have you had your eyes on orange blossom as a potential?
2019, we started testing. So that's 6 years.
Wow.
And that's another thing we kind of do a little different at OSU. I do. I just want to make sure it's right. Now, some breeding programs, you'll see varieties in the variety trials that we conduct that would have only gone through 2 years of testing.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
And I can't blame them.
Yeah.
They want to get it out there. They think they have a gold nugget. Let's get it out there for the farmer to use. But in Oklahoma, just 2 samples of our environment, that's probably not enough. I mean, imagine 22, 23, that being your only sample.
That's
How
true.
different would that be from 24? So from 19 to 24, we've sampled a lot of different environments. The problem with that is, if you keep doing that over and over, breeding cycle after breeding cycle, you're going to find yourself behind the competition.
Yeah.
So you have to do things to kind of speed things up. And we have. I mean, double haploids is our accelerant.
Yeah.
And it helps us speed up the breeding program.
One thing I haven't heard a lot since I came back is Hessian fly. And you talked about Hessian fly resistance. Is there, I guess, where in the state is that a big deal, or is that a regionality thing of trying to sneak into more southern regions?
I think it is in the southern region mostly. But still, even there, I don't hear about it enough. We have to go down into Texas to do the field testing now.
Oh, I mean, because back in Louisiana, that was the big thing. We'd always talk Hessian fly. And since I got back, you don't really hear it. So,
that's right.
But you focused in on it, and I didn't know why that.
Yeah, you ought to
was a focus.
You need to have Chris Giles on this program. He would probably tell you, and I think he would say something to the effect of, well, we had genetics out there, not just OSU, but other programs, that were so resistant that we kept the population at bay. And that can work with other things, but Hessian fly apparently so. I didn't realize that, and I think the one line that we could go back to that started that process or evolution was Duster. Big-time Hessian fly resistance. It still works today. In Texas, where there is another so-called biotype down there, not just the Great Plains biotype.
So where do you see orange blossom? Where does the orange blossoms fit in the system? Is it a complete replacement of double stop? Is it,
It is 66% double stop. So effectively, wherever double stop has worked, it's going to work. The only place it won't work quite as well is in a bakery. It's not that premium quality that double stop has. We know there's one certain protein that the baking industry would say, oh, that's the bad boy. You don't want that in there. Well, we've had really good varieties with that protein. Butler's Gold, Ruby Lee, fantastic quality. Showdown to some extent. But I think that's probably what's happening here. We have just one protein out of whack. But excellent milling quality. I mean, this is going to be test weight of double stop, if not better. Imagine that.
At the OGI meeting, you had a slide of the lineage of this. And that always impresses me because your slide, you showed a variety of varieties, and you showed that this one brings this one, and then it goes back that way and then back over here in this way. These are all things that don't translate well to podcasts, and I apologize, but
it's a family tree.
Yeah. Walk us through where does this derive from?
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole purpose of showing it in that kind of family tree form, is you can see what the derivatives are and how far back they are in the family.
Yeah.
So you've got varieties like Jagger 2174, 3 breeding cycles back. Those are great-grandparents.
Yeah.
And you can really see that in that kind of format. But you can also see, and I don't know if I really pointed it out at OGI, but this is what I call a closed-loop breeding system. We were only breeding Clearfield with Clearfield.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of C's in those experimental numbers if they weren't named. And that's really good if you want to, ramp up yield in the short term. It's not so good if you want to continue ramping up yield in the long term, because you're restricting your genetic base that way. But it really worked for a while. Now we've kind of gotten away from that. We've introduced a lot of non-Clearfield genetics into our Clearfield program, which gives us a fork in the road.
Yeah.
That classic fork. And so we can go Clearfield, we can go minus Clearfield.
Just for the average listener, what benefits are there to a Clearfield variety, not only in Oklahoma fields, but also whenever you are breeding these varieties moving forward?
Again, it's some of our best yield.
Yeah.
And so I want to be able to tap into that, not just with double stop.
Yeah.
We're doing it pretty aggressively now. And I think that's what's going to come out in the next 10 years, maybe beyond me.
Right.
But you're going to see that where the Clearfield genetics is part of the parentage of a non-Clearfield variety. But again, it's just all those other things that add up to adaptability in Oklahoma. I want that. But the trait, of course, provides us with herbicide tolerance,
right,
which allows us to control certain grassy weeds,
right,
maybe not as well as we'd like to.
Right.
I understand that. And so we have another system, coaxium.
Yes.
That put those two together, we do have some pretty good control. Still not 100%, but it's better than having nothing at all.
At field days and things, you've talked about coaxiums in the pipeline.
Yeah.
Where are you at with that right now? Obviously, getting to the point where we can flip back between systems and things like that would be, outstanding.
Yeah. So I talked about 6 years of testing of orange blossom.
Mm-hmm.
Just the yield testing, that's not all the inbreeding that goes before that, which is another 8 years. We've done the complete coaxium variety development in that 6-year period. That, again, is due to the use of double haploids, where you kind of skip those inbreeding stages, inbreeding cycles. You skip some other things genetically. We won't go into all that detail unless we have a chalkboard. We do.
We do.
Let's not do that.
Translate.
That's right. So, we really sped things up. So now we may not go 6 years of testing with coaxium. I don't know that we can afford to do that. We may go 3, maybe 4. And so right now, Foundation Seed has 6 experimental lines that could go into commercial seed market. Yeah, we're there.
So I think this is fun, and we should probably bring Jeff on for more later.
Yeah.
But can you talk about, how much seed you might give Jeff Wright when you first start talking about experimentals and him increasing?
Boy, it gets him going, doesn't it? When we talk about that.
That's right.
Yeah. We don't want to make him upset. I have to drive to Kansas City with him. If we can get out and get through the snow, then it may not be a good ride. But anyway, he's done a tremendous job. We may start with as low as less than 10 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
But usually I'll try to give him a bushel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But compare that to the old days. 25 years ago, we were shooting for 25 bushels.
Wow.
To start.
Of breeder seed to give. Well, if you're shooting for 25 bushels, you better be committed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We can't produce 10 experimental lines with 25 bushels each. So having this lower seed requirement that he will accept and work with allows me to be a lot more forgiving. in the genetic material that we can move forward with, we won't make any mistakes. Well, we won't make as many mistakes.
Yeah.
That way.
How so? I know that you're giving it to Jeff for the increase, but how often do you talk to Jeff about what he sees in those increases versus what you see in your small plots?
Yeah, that's a good question. And, he's going to look at a much larger plot than I do. And I don't know that he's really found something that made us say, oh, no, we don't need to go forward with that. But then here's something I really never thought about, but it's really playing to our advantage now, is we use his seed to do quality testing that we didn't have that opportunity before. I mean, mill testing. And that's what allowed us to move those ox wheats, the real strong dough varieties, through that system so much quicker. We were using his seed to run grain tests. Oh, what a perfect opportunity.
What is the variety that had the chocolate heads periodically?
Green Hammer.
Yeah. So Green Hammer, Bentley is the one that really
Bentley was
the one.
Really.
What is it easier to come, because I know in small plots you can maybe one popped out here, but when Jeff gets it and he puts it over acres and acres, does it really give you an idea of, okay, this one issue we thought was here, but no, it's really here?
Yeah, well, I think that's going to play out when there's chaff segregation, like red and white, that I can't see in a small plot. When you put it out there and over several acres, it really stands out. And he has caught us on those and helped bail us out, basically, with some really hard roguing and good cleanup job. But the trait you mentioned with that chaff color, that is so environmentally influenced anyway. And its genetics has come from a very familiar ancestor. Not an ancient grain. We don't usually eat it for food, but it might as well be. And it's Triticum toshii. And that toshii has given us some bad blood in terms of what Bob Hunger used to call melanism. Sounds really bad, but I mean, it's just a different color of bronze that gets really intensively bronze, if not black, under stress.
Really?
And we don't have that normally with a Jagger type bronze chaff, which is in a lot of our genetics today, a much prettier bronze. It just holds up under stress. Well, this toshii source of that chaff color, So we Bentley, and that came to us through a Texas line that we used routinely. I talked about it many times, called TAM 303. Dave Marshall, the breeder at that time, was really good at bringing in sources of leaf rust resistance, usually leaf rust, from the toshii ancestor. Really good with that. Well, we brought some other things along with it, So, yeah, Bentley really raised some eyebrows and blood pressure.
Well, before we get too far out, because I wasn't there, I always love your stories on why the names are the names. So why is the name Orange Blossom?
Oh, wow. I mean, gosh, if you're going to name something after Double Stop, it better have something to do with Double Stop, not just genetically speaking. And, Double Stop was a Jeff Edwards name, by the way. And really, just as soon as he said it, it's like a hit song. You just know that is good. There was no doubt about it. Jeff, we got it. It was already to the bank. And he had a great idea. I mean, what we wanted to do was, okay, what's 2 genes controls weeds, but you have to have both genes for it to work. Well, that's like a double stop in music. It just adds something different to the music. And so I thought, okay, we need some name, maybe a song that would feature double stops in it. And if you listen to Orange Blossom Special, there's a lot of. Now, we could have named it Brown Eyed Girl. Have you heard that one?
Yeah, Van Morrison.
Yeah. The Van Morrison guitar solo that precedes the song, that is all double stops.
You're right.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's just classic double stop example.
Yeah.
But now we went with Orange Blossom.
Well, we know what the next we know what the next one's going to be.
It's in the bank.
Yeah.
We might come back to it.
It's there.
And were you thinking Johnny Cash version or Charlie Daniels version?
Charlie Daniels.
Yeah.
I like Johnny Cash's version too, but Charlie Daniels just rips it.
Yeah, he tears it up, man. Yeah, that's the best.
Tears up the bow too, doing it.
He does.
Now the question is, Dave, does RDA have enough funds to pay the royalties so you can have that play?
We're signed up for 3 notes.
Okay.
So I have to find. I'm licensed for 3 notes, and that costs $100,000.
Yeah.
So.
I was actually watching some of the SNL, 50 years of music, and I'm talking about some of the skits where they couldn't have, what was it, like 5 seconds of a song, but they could do 3.
Yeah.
The 5 seconds would be $50,000 or $500,000.
Right. Yeah.
Stairway to Heaven was like a $300,000 song for 5 seconds, but they wanted to do 2. Like a Wayne's World thing.
I didn't know the 3-second rule.
So at the next field day, you're only going to be able to play what? Maybe a second of Orange Blossom Special.
Yeah, just that train sound. That's enough.
Here's Brett with one of those wooden train whistles. Yeah. Oh, okay, that's good. We know who it is. Yeah.
Or something way out of tune.
How has technology changed in the past 10 years whenever it comes to even thinking about new varieties like this, but then also developing them with the potential for what is on the horizon looming?
Well, just looking back, you kind of have to look back more than 10 years.
Yeah.
Let's say 20, and what really stands out over the last 20 years is the availability of DNA markers.
Okay.
That has enabled us to do selection that ordinarily we wouldn't be able to do. I mean, Scab Striker, one of our more recent varieties.
Right.
That was all by DNA markers.
Really?
Yeah. And we still had to validate it with a infield scab test, but to do the breeding work, we relied solely on DNA markers, and we're doing the same thing right now to have a Wheat Streak Mosaic resistance out in the Panhandle. Both Wheat Streak Mosaic and Triticum Mosaic, those 2 viruses usually come together, kind of like wheat spindle streak and wheat soilborne. And so, we just don't have an environment we can count on to go test for wheat streak. That's fortunately maybe for the farmer. It's unfortunate for me.
Yeah.
And man, that's been a game changer.
Yeah.
And then probably second to that, but not as doesn't go back as far as like I said before, double haploids. Moving forward, we're going to have the DNA markers, and we're going to get better at it. We're going to use DNA markers across the entire genome instead of just one at a time or a few at a time. And that's already playing out, but I don't think we've seen the full advantage of that yet. And 2, here, we really haven't had the ability to do a genome-wide marker assay.
Right.
With the Innovation Foundation, the lab going in out there, that possibility does exist right now. We're looking at pricing right now with Charles Chen on the Wheat Improvement Team to see if we can do it. And I think it's going to price out pretty good. When that happens, oh, wow, the game gets a little faster, gets better.
And one thing the public really needs to know is the DNA, and you're going to have to help me with this, obviously, but the DNA and the genome and all of that, it's a very complex system. Aren't there like 7 strands or
7 chromosomes?
7 chromosomes with that? And
a pair. 7 chromosome pairs in each genome, and there's 3 genomes in hexaploid wheat.
Right.
So, and that means there's a lot of duplication, replication, just all kinds of mess-ups.
Right. A lot to sort through.
A lot to sort through, a lot of trash to sort through.
Right.
There's a lot of trash in that genome that we don't really need to mess with, but you still have to mess with it.
Right. Are you able to edit with great accuracy whenever it comes to not create, and I know there's the perception of, you're able to create DNA and
we don't really create it.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
There's that perception that may happen, but that's not really the case, and anything that you do on that level is just editing. Utilizing. Okay.
Because editing, we want to reserve that for what is really truly editing. That is changing the sequence of the DNA that naturally exists in wheat. And Li Ling An is one of the stars in the world for doing that. And I see that talent coming to bear, not in the next 3 years, but 5 to 10. We got to get it regulated or deregulated.
Right.
And that I think we have a better chance than we would have with GMO. So we're putting the foot on the accelerator on that. I mean, he's doing some things just to test it out on real world possibilities, herbicide tolerance, and other things. So that's really exciting. I wish I could be around long enough to see all that play out.
Yeah.
It will. Count on it. In your careers.
You're not retiring tomorrow, are you?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm playing that fiddle as long as I
can. May have to rosin the bow a couple times, but you're back in there. Yeah.
Well, I think you brought up a good, because you said that whenever you bring something in, there's a lot of stuff that you have to play with, and some of those other traits.
Yeah.
I guess what's something that have you had something throughout your career that you've brought in accidentally that ended up being
the
big thing that
was
bigger than the trait you were kind of grabbing for?
Gosh, is this a setup? That is perfect.
I try my best.
Very good.
You go.
I mean, that is exactly what happened with the ox wheats.
Oh, really?
We were trying to bring in, the name of the protein is BX7OE. Everything gets a certain name. The B is for the bee genome.
Okay.
X is there's X and Y genes that come together in pairs.
Right.
And then they're numbered based on how they move on a gel.
Wow.
And OE means overexpressed. And so we really needed to have that glutenin, a certain kind of gluten protein, in our wheat. We didn't have it. So I was just going after it to get some strength to add to, say, Baker's End. I thought, well, okay, Baker's End's pretty strong. Let's see how strong we can get with that. I had no clue we were going to crash the ceiling with this. I mean, this is totally off the chart functionality.
Wow.
And you heard it at OGI.
Yeah.
Andrew Holger with Farm Strategy talking about using this wheat not in a blend 50-50. We're talking about using it 1% at a time.
Wow.
That is powerful.
Yeah.
And so, no, I didn't expect that. Your answer.
I mean, it's interesting talking to breeders, because I've had a chance to talk to Steve Harrison and Don Labonte used to do sweet potato breeding, and they said some of my best things, I'll never tell anybody this, were those accidental pull-ins that I'm trying to pull this one gene that many growers probably could care less, but what comes in with it was what made the magic happen.
Yeah. And there's some other things, but I guess duster would be another one. We're going after leaf rust resistance. We had no idea we had 5 genes. Now, any one of those genes by themselves probably wouldn't be very functional or effective. But you put those 5 together, we had no idea. Bob Hunger was doing it. He knew he had something with leaf rust resistance, but that resistance package has now lasted since the 90s.
Yeah.
You just don't see leaf rust resistance last that long. When you get the magic combination, now with molecular markers today, we can go out and do that by design. It wasn't by design in 1996, let me tell you.
A series of happy accidents.
Yeah, that's right.
So has the advances in the genomics and the science changed how you run your F1, F2s?
No, because of grazing. There still is no marker system that can take the place and the impact we can get from putting a segregating population out into a grazed wheat field. You put cattle out there, they have the ability to select. We can't, and we can't mimic what they're doing with markers yet. Maybe that day is coming. I don't see that on the immediate horizon. And plus, it's really simple.
Yeah.
You just grow the bulk 900 of them and let them do the selecting, and you have to do it for several years. 3 years is just enough to get it done. And now you've groomed that genetics. In a way, it's not necessarily guaranteed to be grazing tolerant, but at least you've upped your chances of finding something with grazing tolerance.
Animal grazing, not the mechanical grazing that you sometimes
Well, we
have to
simulate
do.
that.
Yeah.
You bet. I mean, when we get past the grazing phase where we have, selected plants, now we need to make lines. Okay, we still want to test those lines, and we use the lawnmower in that case.
Yeah. I like mechanical grazing. That sounds more fancy, more academic. It really is just a lawnmower, and you go out and every so often simulate a...
That's right. I can't control that cow. I can control that lawnmower.
That's right.
Raise the height, lower the height. Yeah, cutting height.
Heavy grazing, not as much. Yeah.
That's right.
in that line, how does the preferential grazing influence that?
Yeah.
That's
Do you
what
think
bothers
you've
me.
lost a couple probably just due to preference? Like, because we've all seen it, that there are varieties that the cattle just
That's right.
sugar
right.
candy, and others it's like, okay, that's the last thing they go to.
That's right.
When everything else is gone.
Yeah, I remember, if you remember the variety 2174 in the late 1990s, it was a preferentially grazed wheat variety. And so if you put it into a variety trial, it got slammed. And it just wasn't fair. And that, for that reason, maybe some others, but that's the one that really stands out as why I don't like to run a variety trial with grazing.
Yeah.
You can't control everything.
Yeah.
You can't control that initial preference. Now, over time, it's probably going to even out. There's going to be, if you put enough cattle out there, eventually it's going to even out. But it doesn't always. And I think you get the lingering effect of that preferential grazing. And also, there's different growth habits. There's a very erect growth habit, very prostrate. Those respond to that same animal grazing differently, and that comes out in the yield. So I'm not a big proponent of dual purpose variety trials. I don't use them. I use the animals to select. I don't use the animals to test those varieties.
There's starting to be a lot more articles and things wrote about hybrid wheat.
Yeah.
Entering the marketplace and things. First off, there's a lot of people I know that don't really understand hybrid wheat versus conventionally bred wheat. Can you kind of go into that process and kind of where hybrid wheat's at, kind of in relation to the market, but also your program?
It's been close for a long time now.
Oh, yeah.
And we've been hearing 5 years out for the last 20. And they want to get it right, too. When it comes out, and it will, it better be good. Good in the sense it better be higher yielding than the pure lines. What that better is, who knows, 5 to 10%, somewhere in there. But the actual science of it hasn't really changed. You're just producing a hybrid. We produce hybrids too, but we inbreed beyond the hybrid, so we have a pure line that breeds true in the end. But you stop at that point at the hybrid. And there's the way that the breeding procedure is a little bit different than it was. We don't need to go into all those details. It's still a hybrid.
Yeah.
And man, I remember the first paper I wrote as a faculty member here. I took the variety trial data that Ed Smith would have had just sitting there on the bookshelf, where he had pure lines and hybrids together in his variety trials, and I thought, man, this is a great data set to look at. Well, what is the hybrid superiority? And there was superiority, and it looked at stability and those kind of things. But it was a really good way to break into wheat breeding, and so I think there is potential. I've known it for years, and we have worked with, and it's no secret, we've worked with Pioneer, we've worked with other companies, but that's the one, Corteva now.
Yeah.
That has stood out, and they've utilized our parent stocks, and they've utilized other breeding programs to kind of give them a jump start. They didn't have to create the inbreds themselves. They're doing that, but they had inbreds that they could access. And so you're probably going to see a hybrid out there with OSU or other university germplasm as the direct parents for that reason.
This I guess, be actually Radin and Brett too, because I'm kind of curious on the side. I mean, wheat system has always been, well, there's a lot of save your seed, right?
Yeah.
So Radin, from your side, because you come up with a lot of that background from Southwest to Northwest in that wheat system, how do you feel that the marketplace, as far as the commercial producer, would view something, because you lose that hybrid vigor, so it's not the safe seed system anymore?
I don't figure that you'd be able to save seed if we go to a hybrid system at all.
Well, I mean, how are the farmers who are so used to that, or is it just that clientele that's really pushing the yield? So you're really looking at maybe just those 10%, 15% of the highest yielding groups that are more, or those that are already in rotation with corn and soy, that they're just used to that.
I think the big question, how long did it take for corn to really become market-wide hybridization? It was really, after Shoal, very short.
Oh, yeah.
And so
the genetics is different, too.
Yeah, for sure.
You could see immediate superiority versus an open-pollinated variety of corn. Not an inbred. There's no inbred corn.
Yeah.
So, Brett, you think if we can get that 10% that it's a much easier transit. Is that the percentage mark? Is because a couple percent's not going to win them over? They need a significant jump to really get to the thought process of hybrid.
At least 5. And I remember that paper I talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I think the average was about 7%, and those didn't go over eventually.
Mm-hmm.
They just, it never really took off. It kind of tells you what that litmus test is. And too, going back to growers, I think the ones who are going to accept the hybrids, they're already buying certified seed.
They're running certified every year, worried about clean fields, clean seed.
They're already in that habit. So this is not any new habit.
Do you have a percentage guess on how much, like a percentage of producers that save seed compared to what buy certified seed year in, year out?
I don't keep that number, but it came out in the OGI meeting. I think Jeff Wright mentioned this.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It was higher than what I would have thought. Somewhere in 20 to 30%.
That's what I was thinking.
That buying certified seed. I thought it was more like 10, but no, it's higher than that.
I mean, that's quite a bit more than probably it was a decade or 20 years ago.
No doubt about it.
And I know, there's some older growers, of course, where I grew up that, they might, they just save all as much seed as they could, and they just blend it together and plant it and go and stuff like that. And it's changed a lot, even since when I was a little kid. And you've seen this your career, but the way growers look at their wheat production and, especially on the grain-only producer side, there's huge differences.
No doubt.
So
it's a business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking forward, in your black book of wheat varieties that are coming out, what can producers look forward to in future varieties?
Oh, I think immediately it's going to be something for the Panhandle. I talked about the Wheat Streak Mosaic, and we're going to have that. I really want to get it out there. Now, we may have something that's not Wheat Streak Mosaic that's intended for the Panhandle. Showdown has done pretty well. We can do better. So I think you're going to see something there. We're going to continue the ox genetics, make it better yielding, but the same functionality, same off the chart kind of quality. You're going to see something from Smith's Gold, because there's just so much Smith's Gold floating around in our program, and
Smith
for a good
Silver,
reason.
Smith Bronze,
or maybe Tailor Made.
I gotcha. Yeah. Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
But the game goes on, and you're going to see something with a colored brand. I think that's really exciting.
I was very interested in the purple wheat that you were talking about, and
it's a long time coming. Purple wheat's been around forever.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been around where in a form that farmers would be willing to grow it.
Yeah.
And that's been the trick, is get the yield, get the productivity up, and Smith's Gold and Big Country really helped us with that.
Right.
That kind of background. And so that's what we need to do there, is find the market for it. It doesn't just exist automatically. It needs to be a little bit created, and I think the consumers these days are in that market, but it's just not formed yet. So just like the ox wheats, we had to form that market. Had to inform the millers and the bakers what this thing can do.
Yeah.
It can kick.
Yeah.
And it can take the place of some things that we use that people can't pronounce on the label. I think that's just there's some value to that.
Right.
Same for the purple. You can now introduce health beneficial compounds into the wheat that just aren't there in an amount that help us. They don't make an impact on health. So now we can make some impact.
How has that changed since the introduction of folks that are trying to watch carbohydrates and trying to be more informed about what they're consuming, either on the right track or the wrong track whenever they're getting the information?
Yeah, and anything we can do to make wheat more attractive for health, I think we're going to help address that. Now, this won't address starch directly, and we need to do that. And then we're also working on that, and breeders across the country are working on that to introduce a higher content of fiber naturally into the grain. And one of the things I wanted to go to this week was a meeting involving that science, the Coalition for Grain Fiber, nationwide network of not just breeders but through the industry. And, man, there's just a lot of opportunity there. I'm not going to make it because of the snow, but the game still goes on. There's different ways of getting more fiber in our wheat. But when that happens, now I think we change the game on carbohydrates. Because right now, wheat is moderately high glycemic index.
Yeah.
Whatever we put out there, whether it's purple, red, white,
orange.
Orange blossoms. Yeah, it's going to be a moderately high glycemic index. We need to change that science, and we need to change the perception all at once. It can happen.
Well, Brett, you've been changing wheat varieties in this area for quite a long time, and we sure appreciate all that you do for Oklahoma wheat growers and making wheat a sustainable crop in the southern Great Plains for decades now. Thank you for all that you do.
Wouldn't want to do anything else. Love doing it.
Thank you for listening in on this conversation of the Red Dirt Agronomy Podcast. And if you'd like to join the next discussion, leave us a message on our website, reddirtagronomy.com, or send us a tweet. Our handle is reddirtag. We'd like to thank Dr. Brett Carver for joining us on the podcast this week. Again, if you get a chance, visit our website, reddirtagronomy.com, to find out more information about our guests and any of the resources that we discussed today on the podcast. For Dr. Josh Lofton, Dr. Brian Ernell, and Dr. Radon Sherry, I am Dave Deacon, and we all want to thank you for listening. The proceeding is a copyrighted recording of Ag Now Media, LLC 2025. And yes, all rights are reserved.